In 2022, our frogs started spawning more than a week later than in 2021, and immediately they faced problems. But frogs don't give up, and the next few days saw the pond heaving with over 30 mating frogs. By the 15th of April, the pond was full of young tadpoles. Baby tadpoles have feathery external gills, which disappear after about 6 weeks. In this clip you can see the gills more clearly. As they grow, the external gills become internal gills and later become lungs. The heads get bigger and white spots appear on their bodies. A month later, and these underwater shots show the tadpoles busily devouring the vegetation. The white spots are now clearly visible. It's nearly the end of June, and the tadpole transformation is well underway. The back legs appear first, and then the front legs. Notice that the shape of the head is now more frog-like. We now turn our attention to newts. In the breeding season, the male grows a crest along his back and tail. He waves his tail in order to attract the females. Over the breeding season, the female lays about 200 eggs, each wrapped in a leaf. These may be newt's eggs, but I'm not certain. The young newts, called efts, hatch in about 10 to 20 days. They are tiny compared to the frog tadpole. Unlike frogs, newts keep their feathery gills throughout the tadpole stage. Again, unlike frogs, their front legs develop before their back legs. Here are two efts with well-developed limbs and impressive gills. And here they are with a frog tadpole. The young frog survived and was returned to the pot. Look at this tadpole with its long pointed tail, and see how our froglet's tail has shrunk. A few sweeps of a fine net in a healthy pond will contain a myriad of creatures. Let's see if we can identify some of them. We'll start with the black one in the middle. It's called a back swimmer because it swims upside down. Here is a much better picture of its underside. Its long back legs act as oars, which is why it is called the greater water boatman. Beneath the head is a beak which it uses to pierce its prey and inject it with a toxic fluid. It then sucks out the contents of the body. To see the upper side of a back swimmer, I caught some in a net and put the net down at the edge of the pond. Here it is, the right way up and heading straight for the pond. And here are two more, first upside down and then the right way up. Let's look at some more pond creatures. Those long, transparent creatures in the centre are phantom midge larvae, or glassworms. They are carnivorous and feed on things like water fleas and other microscopic creatures. In this picture you can see two pairs of air sacs. Glassworms move horizontally and use the air sacs to raise and lower themselves in the water. The Gatekeeper Guide to Freshwater Invertebrates is excellent for identifying pond creatures. The larva of a glassworm changes into a non-biting midge. These are probably the nymphs of mayflies. There are over 51 species in the UK of all shapes and sizes, but they all have gills on their sides which vibrate rapidly. The life of a nymph underwater may be as short as 2 weeks or as long as 2 years. Here are some drawings of a mayfly and a damselfly. We'll now turn our attention to the damselfly. This is a large red damselfly that visited our pond. After mating, the male uses these claspers to hold on to the female. They fit neatly just behind the female's head. The female lays the eggs in vegetation just below the water surface. The process takes a long time as the pair move to different positions in the pond. The male is making sure that she deposits all the eggs that he has fertilised. It looks as if the male is getting tired and needs a rest. the eggs will hatch after a few weeks and will eventually look like the nymph on the right. Here we have a damselfly nymph in the centre, 4 mayfly nymphs and a large water slater. The water slater doesn't swim, it stays at the bottom of the pond clearing up detritus. The water slater is the aquatic version of the common woodlouse. These leeches have suckers at both ends of their bodies. They use them to cling to the stones and to help them move around. Not all leeches are bloodsuckers. We sometimes see dragonflies in our garden, but they rarely settle. This is a female emperor dragonfly. In 2004, I found one laying eggs in moss at the side of the pond. This year I found a dragonfly nymph in the pond. Notice its heavy build and its short spiky tails. Dragonfly larvae live for several months underwater. As they grow, they shed their outer skin several times. This one is quite large. One day, after we had added some water to the pond, Kay spotted a strange creature on a lily pad. It was an emerging dragonfly, looking for somewhere to cling to whilst it dried out. A couple of minutes later, and it had reached another leaf. This bit of video is at double speed. After about 10 minutes, it finally found a hanging position. It hung there for about 3 hours. By 4 o'clock, it was beginning to look like a real dragonfly. Whilst I was recharging the camera battery, it decided to move to a completely different position, presumably to give it more room to stretch its wings. Using a different camera, I was able to record it with its wings partly open. It's 6 p.m. and we didn't expect much to happen overnight, but we were wrong. By the next morning the dragonfly had disappeared and there was no sign of it anywhere. Whether it had flown or been eaten, we shall never know. Finally, we return to our underwater creatures. Forget about the big ones and look at the tiny ones dashing about. Most are too small to identify, but there is one whose shape is distinctive. Here it comes. It's a cyclops. At 2 millimeters, it is about 1/10 of the size of a water slater. Here we can see the egg sacs and maybe the single eye. And so we come to the end of our underwater adventure. The next stage will need a microscope.